And I believe we are back. Thanks for waiting, guys. That shouldn't have been too bad. We are all good. Hopefully that will improve our frame rate a little bit. I just upped our bit rate. Ooh, I'm getting some chonky frame rates in the game. I don't know if it's just this reboot team track. Of course, it is beautifully detailed. Of course, we have a little fly around here. We have all our very cool period spectators looking fantastic there. Let me have a little peek at my render stats. This doesn't look good. As we just get ready to take over to the race session. We have a slightly unusual 6-minute start countdown for the race. I don't know what happened there. My apologies. Let's just find render stats. Oh yeah, I'm struggling to get close to 60 FPS right now. I will just again flick some settings down. I'm sorry we're having some problems with the stream today. And we are back once again. I do apologise for the continued technical difficulties we seem to be having today with the stream. Usually my PC is pretty beefy, but I guess we've been having some FPS issues today, but hopefully this should now finally fix everything. I just got sent a emoji from Iwis saying quality is practice. Well, I'd be pretty happy if I were him sticking it in second place. Also, we have a 24-minute race there. I don't know who set the server up, but looking a bit funny. Anyway, I will just be back in one moment. I'll get myself ready for the race. I'll leave you with the pre-cam. And we are back just in time for the start of the race. Let's go. We have Jim Salabims currently lined up on pole position for the first race with Ewis in second. Let's hear those engines roar. Let's go. Of course, it's going to be a really difficult start with these cars. Clutch start, and Ewis getting a fantastic getaway. I'm not sure if he quite jumped the start there, but it was certainly quicker than everybody else. Let's see. Ewis is now side by side with Jim Salabim going into turn 1. Oh, it's going to be flat out here. What's going to happen? And Ewis is ahead, and he very confidently steams into the lead. There's been some contact between Hypnotic and Kartoska. They're both looking in trouble, and of course, the inevitable, absolutely humongous crash has happened behind, and everyone has been caught up in that other than the leaders. But Ewis and Jim Salabim managed to remain intact, and they are really pushing hard. Unfortunately, everybody else has been caught up with that. I think from about 5th down, it's just all gone. And that order is still shuffling. People are still getting bonked about. But Ewis is now currently pulling out a little bit of a lead. He's had a fantastic first lap. That launch was just impeccable from Ewis. He's managed to put a decent bit of time between him and Jim Salabim already. But of course, as we know with this car, anything can and probably will happen. So don't count your chickens just yet, Stefan. And Jikuzek in a little bit of trouble there. He's just having a bit of a rejoin. But oh, incredible getaway from Ewis. That was really fantastic. And Farwell is up there as well, looking really, really good. The gap is starting to come down a little bit over the last few corners. I think there are just a few parts of the track that maybe some of these drivers prefer other than others. Let's go have a little spy on Renrup right now as he goes side by side. I believe that is with Boz for position. Oh, and they make contact and Ren has put Boz round. That's such a shame. Oh, poor Boz. And they're still off the track as I'm trying to wrestle a very, very fussy cat right now. I apologise. And Farwell and Jim Salabim are now trading places. I'm not quite sure what happened to Jim, but Farwell is now up into second. I think Jim might have had a little touch on the grass there. Maybe he got close to Ewis and they ran each other off. I'm not quite sure, but we'll keep an eye on this battle as it continues to unfold. Oh, some big old drifting from Hypnotic there. It's such a shame from Hypnotic falling down the grid after such good qualifying. As now Farwell and Jim Salabim are still going at it side by side as I've got a very unruly cat sitting in my lap. I apologise. She won't sit on me, but she's screaming at me for attention, so sorry. I apologise. Let's go have a little peek. What can Jim do? He's now catching back up to Ewis again. This battle at the front has been fantastic so far. We've had a lot of trading places from these guys. Oh, and you can just see Jim having to catch a little bit of a slide there and how close it put him to the barrier. You really are right on the limit with this car at all times. But still, Ewis, Farwell and Jim really, really close to each other. Kartoska not too far behind. These guys continue to battle and they will catch up. Oh, and Jim getting really, really close there. Just as Ewis is a bit cautious through that long left-hander. That left-hander is downhill and it's absolutely terrifying. It's so much slower than you think it is. And then this fast kink as well. You have to be really, really on your toes. This is not an easy combo to drive this week. Oh, Jim just catching that slide, but Iris keeping his car nice and smooth there. Further down the grid, Toxor is in 7th place, trying to keep on the back of Redshift and Snag, that's 6th place. And Jim Salabim and Iris are still incredibly close, as are Toxor and Redshift. Let's go on board with Toxor right now and see what he can do. I have to say, definitely these guys up the front who've done very little practice for this event this week. It's not been one that's really drawn the huge crowds, but seeing these guys exercise such good car control with basically no practice, like I know I always said to me, he said quality is practice, you know, the meme, but he's done a fantastic job. As unfortunately, we've lost Jikuzek. It just seemed like he just couldn't get to grips with this combo this week, as Stefan's had a big off, unfortunately, and he's now lost a bunch of places. That's a real shame to see Stefan fall off like that. Oh, as we have a very heavily lagging Pikaroshu, but luckily he's making it through okay. Let's go. Oh, and I believe that is Iwis having a big old slide. And Jim manages to avoid him spectacularly. And Jim Salabim takes a lead. Now can Farwell catch that ailing Iwis and get that second place? I have to say, that was a huge slide from Iwis. And he did such a good job of catching that. And he only lost minimal time there. So fantastic job from Iwis. But Jim Salabim, he was down to third at one point, now confidently back in the lead. I have to say, other than the top three, the pack is still a little bit disjointed off that big crash on the first lap. Everyone's still kind of recovering as Thomas Fisher passes Toxort to make it into 7th place. Toxort going over the grass there. Ooh, I'm sure he will be recovering. And I think that might be Alexander's race 1 over anyway. He looks pretty entrenched in the barrier. He's managing to pull himself out, but he's going to be quite far down by the end of that. That's a shame for Alexander. Shout out to the 28 viewers we now have on Twitch. Thanks everyone for tuning in today. We are of course twitch.tv/ChargedSimRacing. You're more welcome to come and join our Discord, discord.me/ChargedSimRacing for really awesome weekly events. Championships, as Mitchell, just putting it in the grass a little bit there. We have weekly events, championships, hot laps, fun races on Fridays, endurance races every now and again. We have our new 2-tier championship starting up in the next couple of weeks. We have our DRM Revival Masters Championship for real top drivers driving these fantastic 1980s DRM Group 5 cars, and our CRC Championship in modern BMW M2s as the support series on Wednesdays. You will find a fantastic community with over 600 members and a whole variety of other stuff as well. We're currently doing a lot of Armour at the moment. If you're into Armour Vietnam DLC, we have a fantastic community there of people playing Armour as well as sim racing and a whole bunch of other stuff too, so definitely come hang out. We have stuff going on every day and something to suit absolutely everyone, so yeah. Of course, all of our main events on Charged, our weekly races and our special events are all broadcast live on our Twitch, usually with a bit better production value than today. I'm a little bit subdued today, so, and I'm on my own. Usually I have Tommy with me. So the gap between first place though is still going on. This fight between Iwis and Jim Salabim is still raging. They are still within 1 second of each other, and it's just trying to keep that thing on the track and wrestle it round the best they can. Oh, it's really closing up now. Iwis isn't managing to find his rhythm a little bit and get back up there. See what he can do. It's so interesting how these cars just kind of catch up and fall back. It's a very, very kind of fluid motion. It's very easy to be fast in different areas of these cars, and you can drive them with different techniques, and there is obviously that more high-risk kind of sliding and steering with your feet kind of response, but then again it's easier to overcook it and lose a little bit of time, so definitely seeing some interesting differences in style today. Not too many big old battles going on at the moment. I'll see what we can grab onto. Hypnotic and Stefan are looking pretty close to each other. Let's see what Hypnotic can do. Of course, Hypnotic was so good in qualifying, but I believe he was caught up in that first lap crash. It might have been with Kartoska, and which caused that huge chain reaction following that. So it'd be great to see if Hypnotic can fight his way back up, or he will get premium starting position for the reverse grid race. Oh, and that's Hypnotic, just getting a little touch with the wall there. Nothing too bad, he should be able to recover from that. Other than that, not much is happening at the moment. Everyone's starting to slowly spread out as we get into the second half of the race, of course. Now it's going to be about just keeping the car steady and on the track and trying to hit those consistent lap times, not overcooking your tyres or having any little incidents. I'm sure everyone's pretty happy with their places right now, and it's just doing their best to keep it going, keep it on the track. And Jim now has a 2-second lead over Ewis. I think as the race has gone on, he's just gotten a little bit more of the hang of it, as Thomas Fisher has a spin there. Rejoining safely, but unfortunately losing a place to Toxalt. But yeah, other than that, Kartoska's made his way back up to 4th place following that first lap crash with Mitchell not too far behind, but I think at the moment everything's looking relatively stable. Stefan and Pika Roshu trading places though, but up the front I think now that we're getting settled in, I don't know if Ewis has it in him to come back and catch Jim back up, or maybe Jim's going to have a little mistake, who knows, but really great clean racing up the front. It's been fantastic to watch. It's awesome seeing these cars run so closely together, and I think upping my bitrate was what fixed the problem with the FPS on the stream. How's it looking for everyone? Is it nice nice frame rate on the stream? It was looking a bit choppy earlier. I think it was because the bitrate was all turned down. Usually I crank mine up because I've got pretty fast fiber internet. It still doesn't look perfect though. It might just be this reboot team track. Either way, I do apologise for the slightly PowerPointy frame rate on the stream today. I will take a little look into that for next time I stream. Oh no, and something's happening. Ewis is off. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Sorry, I did miss that. But oh, that's put Farwell up into 2nd. That's such a shame for Ewis. He was leading this race for a good period and looking really strong. But Farwell has just been banging those laps and keeping really consistent and clean. And he is now up to 2nd place. Oh, and something's happened there. I think Ren has gone off. Oh, no, that's a big old off for him, unfortunately. Oh, and he's still really scarily close to the racing line there, and I think that might be the leaders coming through, or some of them, but that's a shame for Ren. Not too many close cars on the track. We just have Alexander and Picaroshu, the only cars within a second right now, although I think something's happened to Steph and he's had a little off again. But it's all calming down up the front. As Picaroshu and Boz just ending up in the grass there, unfortunately. 20 minutes in and the race is beginning to take its toll on everyone. But Jim Sullivan is still out in front after a really, really good start from Ewis, jumping him on the first lap. Jim fought back and just held really, really consistently, and he's now got a nice 4-second lead. Farwell has been hanging on and done a great job sitting there in second place. He's been super consistent. He's been managing that gap to Jim really well as well. He's just been keeping on the pace, had no trouble all race. Great drive from Farwell. Kartoska not too far back, and Ewis, after that little mistake he made a couple laps ago, he doesn't seem to have recovered his pace, and he's now just kind of pretty much resigned to 4th place. Mitchell rounding out the top 5 again with another consistent drive. Haven't seen too much trouble from him. As Ren is now on the charge, trying to catch back up. He's chasing down Picaroshu. They're coming into this big, heavy braking zone. You're coming in here so quickly, and I think that is some serious overcooking going on. That might have been Picaroshu ending up in the wall. No, he just ran a little bit wide as Stefan had a little bit of an oops up the road as well. Not a good race for the charge staff today. We're all finding ourselves further down the grid the longer the race goes on. With 2 minutes to go, Toxort is closed up on Redshift after a fantastic drive from Toxort with his first race in charge for a couple months. Great to see Toxort back. He's now catching up to Redshift. Let's see if he can nab that final 6th place. Of course, old school F1 points, that's always a nice little mental advantage to have. It's really closing up here. You just see the pace you take this first turn at. It is absolutely frightful. Toxort's got a really good run on Redshift now going up the hill. Let's see what they can do. They're going to be side by side going into the braking zone almost certainly. Redshift's still a little bit ahead. I think he's maybe geared his car a tiny bit better. This will almost certainly be the penultimate lap. Hello, Adrian in the chat. This will almost certainly be the penultimate lap. Let's have a little peek on Jim Sullivan right now, and I believe he's coming up the hill to the final 2 corners, so it will be one more to go after this one. So Toxort's got one more lap to catch Redshift, but other than that, the grid looks pretty set. Jim Sullivan's lead is now almost 10 seconds. He's really put the hammer down the last couple of laps. Or I think Farwell might have had some problems because Kartoska has now caught up to him. We'll keep an eye on that battle as it continues. I think Farwell might have had a little off and lost that gap to Kartoska. Or Toxort's really close to Redshift now, and you can see just how sideways Redshift's car is as he absolutely powers it round. Of course, this downhill section, absolutely the trickiest part of the track. These gaps between Kartoska and Redshift and Farwell and Toxort almost identical right now. It's so close between these two. What can Toxort do? He's almost certainly going to have a run in the slipstream here. Do you go for the move before start-finish line, or do you wait for that one final lap, as now we are beginning to come across for the final lap? Jim's already going to be a couple corners into it, but let's see. Toxort loses a little bit of time there coming off the final straight, and that might hurt him for his one big overtaking opportunity. Let's see, what can Toxort do? I think he's a little bit too far back, But coming through turn 1, Redshift is so sideways there. Looking really good. That gap is coming down and down and down. Is Toxel going to go for the move here going into turn 2? It's going to be a brave move if he can pull it off, but not quite yet. Redshift taking the inside line to defend there, and Toxel's having to just bide his time. As we say that, Kartoska and Farwell are also going for second place. Let's see can Kartoska get back in the mix. He drove so well off that early instant on lap 1, and Farwell's leaving the door open here a little bit. Is this going to be it? No, I don't think so, and I think that might just be it for those two. Kartoska just overcommitting himself a little bit there, and I believe Farwell is now going to hold on. But Kartoska is pushing it so hard, riding up on the grass, both apexes of the corner. But across the start-finish line, it is going to be Jim Salabim taking a victory for race 1. Fantastic driving from Jim. Really, really awesome work there. He had a tough job today after trying to catch up after Iris jumped him on the first lap and avoiding all that first lap carnage. But Jim, once he got back in touch, he was absolutely flawless. Fantastic drive from Jim Salabim. Brilliant second place from Farwell. Absolutely fantastic drive from him. Kartoska will take third. And I believe Toxel and Redshift are still going at it. Although I just don't think Toxel can find the time. Redshift has been defending pretty well, and these cars overtaking is scary, so I don't know what's quite going to happen. Ewis has taken 4th after a really promising start to a race. One little mistake put him down, and Mitchell and Redshift make up 5th, or Mitchell takes 5th, sorry. And it's going to go just to the line, but Redshift is just going to hold off Toxel for 6th place. Couldn't get much closer than that. And Hypnotic has had an off, unfortunately. It's been a really rough race for Hypnotic after a fantastic qualifying session, unfortunately. He was involved in that start of the race incident, and that put him down to 9th place. He struggled a little bit on the recovery. Other than that, everyone else is just kind of finishing up right now. I think Pikaroshi was the last driver on the lead lap, so we'll just wait for everyone to cross the line. But yeah, fantastic racing. It was really good up the front today. Definitely seeing Ewis, Farwell and Jim battle for that whole opening 15 minutes was absolutely fantastic. Great driving from all those guys today. Definitely rising to the challenge. If you can jump in this car and race it that closely without much practice, then that says a lot about your abilities. Great job from all these guys today. And everyone has crossed the line, so I will just play our little DRM preview while I save the replay. And we are back. I've got the replay secured, looking ready for race. After a fantastic race 1, we are back, looking ready for race 2 now, of course. Just waiting for a couple minutes for the session to restart over. We have our replay saved, so all should be good. Don't worry, I've got everything under control. We are, of course, in the fantastic Styrian Mountains here for the Oesterreichring in this fantastic Eagle T1G mid-1960s F1 car. And I have to say, everyone did a real good job in that first race. That's definitely a challenging combo to master, but the amount of people who just jumped in with very little practice and had some fantastic racing up the top. Definitely Ewis, Jim Salabim and Farwell all doing a fantastic job, so really fantastic to see. Looking forward to the reverse grid race now. Of course, I'm sure the inevitable massive turn 1 crash will happen again. Of course, it did happen. I believe it was Hypnotic and Kartoska making contact there, but other than that, it was a pretty damn clean race. So, although I did see Renrup do a murder on Boz, so we'll hope that hopefully T1 can be a little bit cleaner in this round, and then we'll see how it goes from there. And of course, welcome back to twitch.tv/ChargedSimRacing. We are back and getting ready for the start of round 2 of our weekly race day with the Eagle T1G here at Oesterreichring. We had a fantastic first round with some really close racing and only one massive crash. So I'm sure with the reverse grid we will have a little bit of problems going into the first couple corners, but hopefully it won't spoil too much of the good old racing. I'd love to see Ewis and Jim Salbim and Farble having a really good go at it again, and also to see if Kartoska and Hypnotic get a better chance after their races were unfortunately kind of ended at the first corner last time round. And we seem to have had Toxort just rejoining. I'm not quite sure what happened there, if he had some connection problems. But it looks like he spawned in the correct position. Of course, sometimes when cars leave and rejoin before the session starts, they can end up spawning in weird positions and causing errors. But I think there's another car missing to the side of him. No, Toxort has disconnected again. Hopefully Toxort can make it back on the grid before the start of the race. That'd be such a shame to have him miss out, because Toxort was full of lots of good racing last time round. Anyway, with 10 seconds to go on the reverse grid race, Boz is on reverse grid pole, followed by Run Up 76 and Pika Roshu. So let's see what's going to happen off the start. Oh, there's some confusion on the start line. I think it might have been Pika Roshu jumping the start, and he's then had to stamp on the brakes to recover from it afterwards. And there's already contact down the back. I'm not quite sure who that is. That might be Jim Salabim. But it looks like people are getting away cleanly so far. And there's been some huge contact, and that's someone already off. I'm not quite sure who that is. That's Redshift, but managing to absolutely keep it. As now I believe that's... Oh, there's some crashing down the back. I'm not quite sure who's been involved in that one, but either way. Oh, lots of people falling down. Run Up 76 is currently in the lead with Stefan in second place. Ewis is currently in sixth place. I believe he's the only guy who made it through unharmed. Not quite sure what happened to Jim Salabim. Oh, he's in 7th place, so Jim and Ewis are now in 6th and 7th. Farwell, unfortunately, absolutely got the worst of that, and he's now in 13th. And I believe that was Toxort, must have just disconnected on the line, and so we unfortunately lost him. Although Jim Salabim is now past Ewis. They are super close together, though, in a massive pack here with Boz and Alexander, so it's all close between these guys. As Mitchell moves up into 3rd place, and there's a huge pack of cars coming by here. Oh, and there's some cars falling off the track there. I'm not quite sure what happened. Boz is off, as is Ewis. Oh no, that's a great shame for Ewis. Not quite sure what happened there. Redshift's been involved in that one too, unfortunately. Whoo-wee. Whole lot of cars going off there. That corner is so deceptive. It's so easy just to brake a tiny bit too late for it, and then that's it, you're off. It's incredibly hard to recover from that, as Alexander is now on the hunt. Looks like more trouble for Boz, unfortunately. He's had another off, and I think that might be it for him. Boz has disconnected. That's such a shame. Ewis is now up into 9th, but I think Jim Salabim already up into 4th place. I think Jim has just managed to run the gambit today and escape all of these problems. Oh, and Stefan's having some trouble. He's had another off, unfortunately. Been a rough day for Stefan, of course. These cars with very little practice are impossible to drive. They are really, really on the ragged edge. Farwell and Redshift battling for 10th and 11th place. Just see, look at that fantastic sideways racing from Farwell and Redshift there. As Jim Salabim, on his absolute charge, gets past Mitchell and is now up into 2nd place. Jim has just absolutely handled this car unparalleled today. He's been so good. Jim has really just gotten it down, and the longer this event's gone on, he's just gotten faster and smoother and more consistent. And I have to say, making his way through all that reverse grid drama and making his way up to 2nd place within 5 minutes, within 4 minutes even, is fantastic from Jim Salabim. He's really on another level today, I think, in this car. Round Up 76 is still holding out in the lead, though. Of course, he loves those reverse grid leads, and there's a bit of a gap for Jim to catch up, and he's going to have to really keep his foot down if he wants to catch Ren up, and Ren's going to have to avoid making any small mistakes, but it's still going to be a little bit of work for Jim to do to catch up. We've got Mitchell in 3rd place just behind him. Oh, and there's been some contact there as Thomas Fisher just dumps Mitchell out. Kartoska is now in 5th place, looking to move up, but that gap between Ren and Jim in 1st and 2nd place isn't really coming down that much, I have to say. I know Jim Salabim has definitely got some time to catch up to Ren. He's got 14 minutes of this race left, and Jim has the pace today, but Ren is out in front, and he's doing a great job of just banging on those laps and keeping it going. That's a 44.7 from him there. That's a nice lap. Jim Salabim is about 8/10 faster though, but catching him is one thing, passing Ren is going to be another. Of course, we all know that Renrupt is a real stonewall and a really tough driver to pass, especially when he's leading, so Jim's going to have his work cut out there if he wants that win. Kartoska is making a move on 4th place. Redshift and Firewall still trading places further down the grid. These guys are like they're having a whole load of fun, driving together side by side, sideways. Unfortunately, with all the chaos, Redshift and Hypnotic have not been able to make their way further up the grid, and unfortunately poor Firewall hasn't either, which meant Jim Salabim has just been completely unrivaled today up the front. He is the only driver from the first race who's managed to have a really good go at it and get his way up the grid. But I have to say, the action is all here between Firewall and Redshift. These guys are absolutely going nuts. Beautiful driving from both these guys. They're getting really close. A lot of great respect and really nice driving from these guys here. Really enjoying to watch. Almost going around in formation there. You can still see the barely a cigarette papers between these two guys, and they're still going for it here. As Stefan takes 6th place. Back on Firewall and Redshift, who are still going at it. Redshift is still holding that 10th place, though I think these guys are definitely more worried about having a great battle with each other than positions, but they're really having a great drive today. Both these guys having a lot of fun. I think that might be the place for Firewall there. He's finally gotten past. Maybe Redshift had a little bit of a slide. And we've lost Redshift. I think he might have had a problem there. That's a shame. I have to say that gap for first place is not coming down as quickly as it was. It's still 3 seconds between Renrupt 76 in first place and Jim Salabim in second. I think Jim's going to have to keep working if he wants to catch Ren and take that reverse grid win. As Stefan just eating a little bit of the wall there, but luckily not too much harm done. Let's go and have a look with Jim right now as he tries to hunt down Ren. The gap's come down to 2.5 seconds on this lap. There's still 10 minutes for Jim to catch. I don't think he's pushing himself too hard. He knows that even if he gets second in that reverse grid race, he's going to secure the overall mini championship and win the event by quite a considerable margin. But you always want to do the double. You know, it's such a good feeling to have a total dominance when you win both parts of a weekly race and you win both the races. Winning from a reverse grid race is a really, really good feeling. So I know Jim just really wants that, but he's just got to keep the car under control, not jeopardize it. Iwis is in 7th place. Farwell is in 10th, so if Jim were to finish quite some way behind Iwis, maybe with some very large incident, that might be enough for Iwis to take a little snag victory, but who knows? Oh! And Ryoshi has subscribed with Twitch Prime. Thank you so much, Ryoshi, for continuing to subscribe with Twitch Prime. That is your 3rd month you've been subbed now. Thank you so much. Of course, Ryoshi also helps run the Charge Minecraft servers, which is a huge part of our community as well. We have a whole lot of fun and games going on there. So thank you very much, Ryoshi, for being continually a fantastic member of our community. We're so proud to have you. Thank you. Oh, 2 seconds now. Jim took some time out of Ren up there as Pika Roshi's just had a little off, unfortunately. Well, I think he's gone back to the pits. That's going to be... No, he hasn't. I pressed the wrong button. Pika Roshi was still going. I do apologize. Sorry, Pika. Keep at it, bro. Mitchell's under fire here. Let's see. Will he meet the same fate he met the last time this move was attempted? As I say, that Kartoska and Alexander are trading places for 3rd and 4th. There's some slow-moving cars on the track here. I believe that might be a lap-down car. No, that's Alexander who seems to be struggling to get recovered. Jim Salabim just pushing that gap down as Ren has a big slide. It's now 1.3 seconds. How much longer can Ren hold on for? Has had a big off, unfortunately. That's right into the guardrail. That's a tough crash to recover from, I have to say. A really fast part of the circuit. Absolutely terrifying driving this car. I did a few laps this week in preparation, and I decided I was just going to commentate because I'm preparing for the CRM championship. But whew. Now this battle for the lead, if it's going to happen, it's happening now. The gap is now under 1 second. Jim Salabim has just been chipping away at Ren for the last 10 minutes. There's 7 minutes to go now. Sorry. And the gap is now under half a second, and Ren looks increasingly less seated than Jim. Jim is really, really in control today. As Ren is just continuing just to hold on, but he's looking more and more slidey as the race goes on. Maybe he's just fighting the tyres or fatigue from an hour of driving a difficult car with no practice. Let's see, what can Jim do? Ren's getting really sideways. Jim's having to back off a little bit there, but he's still going. We're almost side by side right now. Jim's really going to have to pick his moment carefully. As Ewis moves up into 5th place, so if anything happens to Jim, if Jim has a massive off, this championship today could still be open. Anything could happen. Ren is doing his absolute best best moving chicane impression here right now as he's trying his best to keep Jim behind him. He wants that reverse grid win race win, bruh. Sorry, I'm a little bit like today. Sorry, I'm a bit hopped up. As Ewis has had a little off, unfortunately. But the battle to watch is between Jim Salabim and Ren right now, as once again, Jim was almost a second faster than Ren on that lap. It's gonna happen at some point. I think Jim is just biding his time. He's got 10 seconds to Kartoska behind him. Just dipping a wheel on the grass there. My. But what can Jim do? He really is in no rush, but at the same time, he's got to get that win. Got to get that dub. Ren taking such defensive line, but he gets a wobble. What can Jim do? Oh my word, they were so close there, almost touching, as Ren just had a little bit of a slide going into this fast right-hander. What can Jim do? If you want to overtake, this is not the corner to do it, and Jim very sensibly backs out and bides his time as Ren is almost 45 degrees to the track there. Brilliantly held from both these guys. This is absolutely stellar driving. Once again, Jim just backing out, and I think Ren may have overcooked it. No, he just goes all the way up to the white line and holds on. This is an absolutely fantastic battle between these two guys. Ren has absolutely nothing to lose here. He's doing everything he can to keep Jim behind him. Jim is just ever so patiently trying, and they might be side by side now. I think Jim might be having the inside line. And Ren is off. Ren has put it into the wall. And Jim Salabim takes a lead, and I think Ren just pushed his luck a bit too far. Luckily, he's not spun, so he's still in the fight, only a second down. Of course, there are no damage in weekly events, so Ren isn't too harmed by that, but I think Jim is now well and truly in the clear. I have to say, second place for Ren is a fantastic result. Jumping in with almost no practice, he did really, really well today. Holding off Jim Salabim, who's been so brilliant today for that long, he should really be commended. And I speak from experience how hard it is to pass Ren. When he's in the lead in a reverse grid race and decides you're not getting past, oh my word, you're going to have a tough time. Talking about tough times, Ewis is just unfortunately getting bitten by the lack of practice bug right now, unfortunately. He was so good in qualifying in the first half of the first race, but I think just when you don't have enough practice and you get a bit tired, sometimes it all just is a bit much. Such a shame. I would love to have seen Ewis push his way up the reverse grid today. He was really good in race 1. Absolutely fantastic lightning start. But definitely the man of the hour today is going to be Jim Salabim. He was absolutely fantastic. So quick, so in control. And Ewis is off again. I think that might be it for him. Oh, he's still going. Determined to bring it across the line. No one wants that cursed DNF next to their name on the weekly results. Don't believe it, and Ren erupts his round. That is such a shame. Oh no, and he's just bleeding positions here now as Kartoska takes second place. Oh, that's so sad. He had such a big gap. All Ren had to do was just bring it home, and now he's losing places to Mitchell as well. That puts Mitchell up into a well-deserved third place after being hit and being spun earlier. That's a great recovery from Mitchell. But I'm sure Ren's not going to give up too easily. He wants that third place back. Oh, it's such a disappointment going from the lead and then just slowly making mistakes and falling further and further down the grid. It's the most heartbreaking feeling. And Ren appears to be back through for now. Oh, and that's someone in the wall. That's Mitchell in the wall, unfortunately. Oh, I think he just may have overcooked it a little bit there, chasing Ren, but that puts Ren solidly into third place now. Mitchell, unfortunately, looks like he's going to have to settle for fifth today. Oh, and that's more trouble for Mitchell, unfortunately. Let's see where Jim is. I think we're going to get one more lap as Jim comes to start the final lap of the race. He has a nice 10-second buffer to Kartoska in second place. Ren is still hanging on to third place as Toxort is in the pits, I believe. That might be it for him, as Pikarushu is still trundling on in 11th place. Not too much on-track action happening at the moment. Farwell is closing up to Hypnotic, but of course we are on the last lap. I think most of these battles have been won and lost today. Although Ren is still under pressure for third place. Let's see what happens. As we are just rounding the final few corners of the last lap, we still got a little bit of action here for third place. Ren is still hanging on. Getting very sideways though, and he's overcooked it unfortunately. But as we come round the final corner, it's going to be another fantastic drive from Jim Salabim. Jim Salabim, more like Jim Salah win. He's been unrivaled today. Absolutely fantastic. A reverse grid win. That is a really, really fantastic achievement when you've won the first race as well. Jim's been so in control today, so quick, so consistent. Really great result from him. And I believe that's going to be Carl Tosca taking second place. Which is a nice result from him too. Unfortunately, after leading the race for a long time, Ren just overcooked it. And as I say that, he's overcooked it one more time. And that's going to be, I believe, not quite reversing across the line, but Kartoska's also had some trouble as well. I think Kartoska has run out of fuel. Which, if anyone may remember, happened to him at the RSS V3 race at Spa as well. Kartoska, get ACRL fuel. ACRL fuel. It's on race department. You'll never run out of fuel again. Oh, the poor lad. Oh, no. Just falling down the grid, unfortunately. Oh dear. As Mitchell takes 5th, Hypnotic 6th, Farwell 7th, Alexander 8th. I don't think Kartoska is going to make it, and he is still on the racing line. Signature move, says Tommy Ball. Oh, it's such a shame for Kartoska. He's still rolling though. He's got some way to go. And Jim Salabim has disconnected after a fantastic double victory from him today. I don't think Jim's going to make it. Oh, what a shame for Kartoska. Seriously, ACRL fuel. It's all you need. It's powered by our hopes and dreams. Oh, and Kartoska's car has come to a standstill. So that looks like it's unfortunately going to be a DNF for him, but he tried. Oh, Kartoska, I feel so bad for you. That's so unlucky. Get ACRL fuel, please. Oh, dear. Anyway, that has, of course, been our weekly race for today. Not the biggest grid today, but still plenty of great on-track action. We had some fantastic battles up the front and back, lots of fun. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thanks, everyone, for watching twitch.tv/ChargeSimRacing. Thanks to our fantastic community for giving us such a great race to watch. And that's going to be it from me. I'll leave you guys with the DRM preview, and we'll see you next week.